Thank you very much.
Wow. That's right. Thank you very much for watching The Quartering. I hope you're enjoying your wonderful day today. And if you are, and if you want to spread some of that joy, remember to like the video. It helps new people find the channel, and I really, really do appreciate it. So there has been a bit of an ongoing fun subplot to the new Avengers Endgame cast behind the scenes, with some ongoing, what I think maybe most reasonably call tension between some of the actors in the film. Specifically, you're looking at Chris Hemsworth, Don Cheadle, Jeremy Renner, and a little with Mark Ruffalo. But it's kind of building up steam. Here on YouTube, many people are talking about little snipes back and forth between beloved actress of Brie Larson and falling from relevance actors like Chris Hemsworth and Don Cheadle and Jeremy Renner. I say that ironically, of course. Go see Wind River by Jeremy Renner, or Jeremy Renner stars in it. I think it's an excellent film. With Avengers Endgame, I have changed my mind. I have decided to see the film opening night, as one of my friends had an extra ticket, and I said, okay, well, you know what, for the channel's sake, I should probably go see it so I can give a fair review of the film. I did do this with the intention of doing a review with Shazam, but then I shot the review and I just didn't feel like my viewers would care for it that much. But if there's going to be stuff to talk about around Avengers Endgame, then I need to have seen the film myself. Now, the rumor that there is some tension, I think, comes from the understandable feeling of passing the torch, maybe before some people are done with their roles.
I think thanks for jumping on me.
No, you're
Quite
fine.
successfully stolen the torch and taken over.
Is there any competition?
Now, I'm going to guess established actors like Robert Downey Jr. are ready to move on to other things. Chris Hemsworth probably as well. Most of these actors are probably fine moving on, but there does seem to be a little bit of interesting undercurrent that now is leading to some damage control by the mainstream media, which is, of course, just an advertising extension for Hollywood. Any actor or actress knows that they can go give an interview, an exclusive interview to some website, and they'll just shill whatever they want. So I'm going to get into the damage control in a second, but I saw this article, and so a lot of people are asking me this question, and I do really agree with it. So Avengers Endgame, you don't need to see Captain Marvel and Ant-Man and the Wasp. Just watch this. So Avengers Endgame is a sequel to Avengers Infinity War, but do fans really need to see Captain Marvel and Ant-Man and the Wasp? By the way, these are probably two films that at least from a rating, an undeniable rating perspective, we're on the lower end of the spectrum for Marvel movies. Now, you may have enjoyed them, and as I've always said with video games and any criticism, it's not up to the ratings, it's not up to anyone else to affect whether or not you enjoy a film. I enjoy plenty of bad films, as I've publicly said that I greatly enjoy Paul Blart Mall Cop, okay? So there are a lot of wholesome movies that a lot of other people would think are hilariously bad or ratings were really poor. That doesn't matter. You can like what you like, and I hope that that message resonates, even though we do have a bit of fun poking at these Hollywood actors and their frailties and their wish and desire to have power over society when they're really just there to dance for entertainment. Last year, Infinity War was releasing, leaving jaw-dropping cliffhanger. Thanos successfully took care of half the universe in a snap, but before the conclusion could be seen in Avengers Endgame, Marvel released two prequel movies in Ant-Man and the Wasp and Captain Marvel. Ant-Man 2 is set just prior to Infinity War, with Scott Lang having been absent during elements of Infinity War, while Captain Marvel is set in 1995, but really, both films are standalone solo outings and little to do with Avengers Endgame. So do you really need to see them beforehand? No, not really. So I think that's probably true. Now, I did enjoy the original Ant-Man. I did not see Ant-Man and the Wasp. Not for any real reason. It just, kind of flew under the radar. And I thought the first Ant-Man was good, but it had like too many jokes. And I know that's kind of like a dumb criticism, but I do like the more serious take on these films. I like a little more stakes. And Ant-Man and the Wasp looked like it was just like joke, which is what like my biggest criticism of Guardians of the Galaxy 2 was. While I did enjoy the film, I thought it was just too much yucking it up, too much smelling your own farts, not enough what's going on. And you could argue that, hey, that's the spirit of Guardians of the Galaxy, and you would be right. I'm just talking about my own personal perspective, my own personal take on the film, and that's all that is. We saw news come out today that Ruffalo had no idea he was starring with Brie Larson in the movie 13 going on 30. He had no idea. Again, she was just a little kid at that time, so I imagine that's kind of a non-story, but it came out today nonetheless. Now, to get to the damage control, we have lots to cover. We've got Don Cheadle debunks rumor Larson didn't get along with Avengers cast. And we get Don Cheadle shuts down rumors that the Avengers Endgame cast didn't like Brie Larson. Here's another website. Avengers Endgame. Don Cheadle denies the cast fell out with Brie Larson. Don't believe the YouTube videos. That's right. Don't believe, which I'm going to include a supercut of all of the evidence that has led to this theory, and as well as some new clips that have surfaced or that I missed in my last video. And if you missed my last video, Avengers Endgame cast roasts Brie Larson, it's a more of a direct breakdown of a lot of those clips, but don't believe YouTubers who are not paid by Hollywood. Believe us. Believe the websites that are built around pandering to Entertainment Tonight and big media. All right? But let's see what Joe Anderson has to say. This came out actually a few days ago. Oh, no, it didn't. 22nd. Yeah, so 2 days ago. With Avengers Endgame just days away, fans have been poring over every interview, press junket about clues up for the film. But some recent interviews have been garnering attention for a different reason, with fans claiming they are, quote, proof that Brie Larson doesn't get along with the Avengers cast. This is one of them. But if you search Avengers Brie Larson, you'll see tons of videos claiming they all dislike her. Honestly, it's exhausting. You have James Rhodes, Don Cheadle, have now denied that there are any rift between the cast and called out, quote, detectives for slamming Brie. Now, in the clips, if I had to rate like the most sad, like the most spicy ones, they seem to be the relationship between Chris Hemsworth and Brie Larson that has most of the jabs. Now, I said even in my first video, yes, this could be like a big brother, little sister type relationship where he's just ribbing her. But she develops this weird tick where she's like always grabbing her ear. You'll notice in the clips when I show them where she'll grab her ear when she's triggered. I think it could just be that she does that normally. I don't know. There seems to be some correlation. Chris Hemsworth is probably the roughest. There's the Hawkeye interview where I think it's a low-key burn, but you'll have to be the judge of that. Her interactions with Don Cheadle are a little more questionable, and I even said that in the original video where it's like, okay, you know, Don might just be joshing with her. And if you look at the type of, if you examine Don Cheadle's Twitter feed, for example, versus Brie Larson's Twitter feed, it would appear that those two are on the same team, quote unquote. They are both hyper progressive, I would say, promoting a lot of the same social justice type topics. And so I was a little more surprised that Don Cheadle would not get along with her, seeing as though they both champion the same causes. But, you know, the whole birds of a feather idea. But we'll look at those clips and guess, or make our own speculations. Okay. He tweeted out one fan saying, "You kids are hilarious," in response to their theories, if that's the word, and followed up by adding, "Whoever you are, you're reading in. Take a break from the detective work. We're all good. Hope you enjoy the movie." Now, I wouldn't exactly say this is debunking anything. Not that Don Cheadle has to debunk anything, but one could speculate that Don Cheadle is not a total moron when it comes to working in the industry. I don't think you have many examples historically of actors basically publicly outing other actors as unlikable. Even if you look at a lot of the late night show hosts, you never see them bad-mouthing guests. And they just don't. Hollywood sticks together, and it's later on through hidden video and audio that you find out like the crazy Christian Bale outbursts and things like that. This only gets out there via leaks. You almost never see them bad-mouthing each other. So the fact that Don Cheadle said that, everything's fine is far from debunking it, especially when we have a litany of press interviews and video evidence that seems to indicate there's at least some tension. Now, even I get sick of, for example, if I spend a ton of time with my best friend and, we're hanging out every day for a couple weeks, you can start to kind of get sick of somebody. So maybe that's what it is. But the interesting thing is when you look at the interviews between the other cast members, you don't ever see this level of tension. They go on to say, it's interesting that the male Avengers cast members pretend to get huffy with each other in interviews all the time, and there's never any level of scrutiny to that Larson, or not to the same level of scrutiny. Well, where is it? It's interesting that you wrote this whole article and you cram in a bunch of affiliate ads selling Marvel products, but you didn't post any examples. So the implication there is that it's just about Brie Larson being a woman, but I'm not going to take any time to back up that claim. And you can see the same type of thing with these other articles. Don Cheadle shuts down rumors that Avengers Endgame cast didn't like Brie Larson. Again, I'm not saying that I have irrefutable evidence that they don't get along, but what I'm saying is a simple retweet with "you kids are hilarious" doesn't prove anything. Captain Marvel is the most successful movie of the year so far, with Brie Larson's Carol Danvers instantly being catapulted into the top league of MCU heroes. By the way, a lot of this, I'd like to get through and get into the numbers of how the American cinema is basically irrelevant now, because the money coming out of China and the Asian markets is just so much bigger than the U.S. Now, I don't know if that's necessarily a result of the U.S. theater dropping off, or if it's just these movies are getting edited and getting better distribution in Asia. Maybe I'll talk to some of my people in the industry and maybe do a collab or something. It'd be interesting to break down some of the numbers behind that. Anyway, what I'm saying is it's almost impossible, statistically extremely unlikely, that each new Marvel movie is going to do worse than any previous ones, just based on inflation and based on the fact that worldwide distribution is better than it's ever been. You might come across all the chatter about her rivalry with Chris Hemsworth on the Endgame press tour, in which the pair have been fueling a faux feud that likely mirrors Thor and Carol's relationship in the film. It's just banter between co-stars, of course, but some are convinced that it's genuine fallout happening here, especially since there's been persistent rumors that Larson was difficult to work with on set, some of her female co-stars in particular didn't get along with her. See, it's interesting. Another article that says, well, it's just banter. Okay, where's your evidence? I'm not saying my videos are proving beyond a doubt that this is the case, but what I'm saying is, you simply saying that it's banter doesn't prove it, and Don Cheadle sending a single tweet doesn't really say anything either. Don Cheadle steps forward with a single retweet to clear up the nonsense. Again, you have him, Brie Larson, so many spectators tonight, ma, see you tomorrow. Maybe Don and her do get along, but the video evidence at the end of this video between Chris Hemsworth, or the way that Jeremy Renner interacts with her, this does not look like two people that are great friends or even decent coworkers. They seem really contentious to me. But again, for those who haven't seen it yet, Entertainment Tonight interview in question, Brie discusses what it was like to find her way through the character of Endgame. The actress then nudges her co-stars. Wasn't it being fun for all my extra takes? Cheadle then feigns irritation and jokes, what did I tell you about touching? Everybody involved is clearly good humor, though. It's not a little if not a little tired by the never-ending press tour. And I've always said that this is entirely possible, but I'm not seeing tons of other clips with other co-stars getting testy with each other. So if they exist, I haven't been presented them. If they are, please leave them in the comment section down below. I'm going to leave you with a little montage of Brie Larson's interactions with her cast members, and you tell me down in the comment section down below, what do you think is more likely? That it's an elaborate ruse to feign a feud to get press, or if there's some genuine disdain there. I am curious to hear what you have to say in the comment section down below. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope, regardless, you do enjoy Endgame if it's something you want to see. If not, there's plenty of other good films to see, and we'll talk to you again real soon.
For me, because I'm the strongest, so it's just kind of like a different...
Oh, yeah, you should let her think that, but yeah.
It's not. As
You
I've
are.
said before, it's not. It's just a fact. It's not a personal opinion.
No,
and it's
no.
not a reflection on what you can't do, but it is also kind of a reflection on all that you
It's
can't do.
just that you're just not that strong. She's really smart, and, you know, but should we have a fight?
And she can eat bacon
I feel like
nobody's
we're fighting right
business.
now. I think it's been an all day.
I think
Thanks for jumping on me.
No, you're
quite
fine.
successfully
You're gonna be
stolen the torch. and taken everything.
Is there any competition?
I do
See,
all my
this is the thing.
stunts.
I did my stunts because I thought that that's what everyone did, and
Could
then
have Tom Cruise over here.
no, I want to be the first me, not the next Tom Cruise. Thank you very much.
Wow.
I am committed to self-improvement, and I work at being the best person that I can be and using this platform for as much good as I can. But it doesn't mean that I don't make mistakes, but I'm very comfortable with that and allowing myself to learn from those mistakes.
This might be one of the best low-key burns I've seen to date. Take it away, Jeremy Renner.
Yeah, I'm pretty accountable and responsible in my own life, at any rate. So, celebrity is not something that I use as any sort of platform to, to be more responsible or accountable, I suppose.
Finding our way, but it was a good group of people to figure it out with.
Yeah.
With, right, guys?
Camera
Isn't
two-
it fun
camera
being there for all my
point two.
extra
Right,
takes?
Trained you up
Told you
on
about
the
touch.
apprenticeship.
And we're all coming in for this last sort of moment that there's all these new relationships being built, and we kind of get to come back and meet each other again, see each other again. There's a real, I think, affection among the cast members, except for
No, this is terrible. Yeah. No, this is terrible. Yeah.
like I said, there's been a sort of a passing of the torch, and Brie just has to not screw it up.
Do you ever ask them, like, who's your favorite superhero? Is it me, or is it, like...
That's just
Yeah,
asking
no,
to
yeah,
be
and
hurt.
it's wonderful.
That's just asking
It's
for
wonderful.
pain.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and they haven't seen your
Cool.
film yet, so maybe yours.